There's always something very magical about the first snow of winter. When I woke up this morning, I was surprised to see about 4 inches on the ground. Because it was a little on the colder side this morning, I did feed the horses a few hours ago, and now with the sun finally starting to come up, it is absolutely beautiful out.
Little mare.
Goosey. Even though it is a little bit chillier out than normal, these horses are producing a lot of heat internally from munching on their hay. Right now, with the sun starting to creep up, it is hovering right around freezing, so I'm pretty sure that a lot of this snow is going to be gone by this evening.
Gus. Boy.
All of the horses are a little on the plump side, which is perfect for this kind of weather. Their winter coats are already in, and the only one that's getting blanketed right now is Frisco, just because he's older and he does have a little bit of trouble staying warm. One of my most favorite things to do when we get a fresh snow like this is go out and see what kind of animals have been wandering around. For the next year or so, I'm going to have the horses in temporary pens with temporary shelters. I need to have a pretty good idea of what the seasons are like around here before I put in anything permanent. One factor that is really important to me when I'm planning this out is where all of the other animals are on the property. I always see a ton of deer. There are prairie dogs around here. This morning is going to be the perfect opportunity for me to see where the most active burrows are, where all of the deer are traveling, and also if I can spy any footprints from predators. I am not a huge Black Friday shopper, but I did invest in some more panels, some more of the temporary shelters like the one that Sparkler has, and then I am planning on putting some pens up outside this perimeter fence. I'm still pretty nervous about putting any horses in around the old homestead building, especially ones that are going to run around crazy. Before the snow came, I was still finding quite a bit of glass and metal, and I think on the other side of the fence, the horses are going to be free of that. I've gone over a lot of the property for old fencing, but a lot is still popping up, so I'm still going to be pretty careful as to where I put the horses. And hopefully after today, I'll have a better idea where predators might be roaming. Right off the bat, I found some deer prints of one that was running pretty scared from something. There are no tracks trailing behind it, but right now this is probably my best bet to find some kind of predator activity on the property. I'm going to follow these tracks back, and I'm pretty sure they're coming from that really thick patch of tamarisk trees. It is pretty exciting to experience the new property for the first time with all this snow on it. The closer I get to the patch of tamarisk trees, it seems like the more deer tracks I'm finding. While I don't have any plans to run into any predators, it will be fun to see if any were lurking about overnight. was really cool. As soon as I walked around the other side of the big patch of tamarisk trees, I did find what seems to be some type of predator lurking about. While I am a little bit rusty as far as my tracking skills goes, this is definitely not from a deer. It does look like whatever was lurking around in these trees were giving the deer a little bit of a scare. I got a little bit turned around while I was following these tracks and I lost them inside the tamarisk bunch. I continued along the perimeter and sure enough, I found a lot more deer trails in here. I think we must have gotten the majority of the snow late last night and early this morning, so there aren't a ton of tracks yet. It looks like the tracks are heading back across the main field, and when I get to the other side of the pasture, I see a lot more evidence that deer have been roaming around. I'm kind of bummed I lost track of whatever predator was over by the tamarisk trees, but I'm going to poke around here for a little while and see what I can come up with.
Ugh.
While I do feel pretty comfortable in the woods, I am not the most graceful person, and I literally stumbled across the predator tracks that I'm pretty sure were on the other side of the field. Again, I saw a lot of footprints from deer that were around here. This area looks to be like it's the perfect place for deer and other small animals to bed down during a storm. The neighbors have a bunch of trail cameras set up, and I am hoping to get a few up as well, just so I can see what's traveling through here. I'll be pretty excited for the day when my adventures don't have me running into random fencing. I definitely want to find out what's following the deer before I turn the horses out over here. I am now hot on the trail on whatever was stalking the deer last night. These are definitely not from Huckleberry. He has not been out on this area of the property since yesterday. These prints are not super fresh, so I'm really not worried about running into anything in the woods. But I am certainly going to keep my wits about me as I follow and retrace this thing's tracks. It does appear like whatever this animal is was tracking the deer pretty much all across the pasture. It went into the woods where it became a little bit more tricky for me to follow. This little pasture up here between the trees is one area that I was planning on putting a temporary lot for the horses. There's still a lot of grass under the snow that they could get to through winter, but I'm going to be a little bit more hesitant if I find there is a lot of predator activity right through it. I've showed you this little trail before, and it looks so much different covered in snow. There are a lot of deer tracks up through this area, and it was taking me a little while to figure out where exactly our predator went. With so much fresh snow on the ground though, it was pretty easy to pick the trail back up again. This part of the woods has a lot of scrub oak and the leaves are very deep. I followed the tracks closer to the stream and was able to get some pretty good outlines of the prints. Up until now, I wasn't sure if we were following a canine or a feline, but now I'm pretty sure that this is some type of cat. Canines like dogs, wolves, and coyotes, you'll be able to see nail prints. But cats do retract their claws when they're walking along, so it's pretty obvious now that that is what we're dealing with. These prints are a little bit smaller than I would expect for a mountain lion, which I'm not super stoked to have on the property. I know a lot of you guys worry about me stumbling around in the woods, but the chances of me getting attacked by a mountain lion are pretty slim. I feel significantly more comfortable traipsing through the woods, following predators than I do on a busy city street with a bunch of humans. I'm pretty confident we're following a cat, but I want to get a little bit more information to be sure. The tracks are pretty good, but there is some snow on top of them, so this still could be a canine. With this pasture having water on both sides, it's another really good place to find deer and also other predators. After tracking this animal for a little bit longer, I came upon some evidence that is very clearly pointing me in the direction that this is a cat of some kind. I lost the trail at the bottom of a tree, and then I saw some marks on it that were very suspicious. It is pretty obvious now that what we're following is a cat of some kind. It definitely used this apple tree as a scratching post. A few of the claw marks in the tree are very deep, and a dog would definitely not do something like that.
Ah!
I just crossed the perimeter fence to our property, and it looks like our cat jumped over the stream and then climbed up this embankment to the neighbor's place. Hopefully, once it gets flat again, I can get some clear pictures of the prints so I can get a positive ID on what exactly this animal is. I've seen a handful of mountain lion tracks before, and these seem to be a little bit smaller. It's pretty obvious whatever this was trailing a deer all night last night. And with these two paw prints side by side and a good view of the tracks, I can pretty confidently say that this was a little bobcat. Bobcats are pretty small, so I am definitely not worried about it being around the horses or Huckleberry. They are naturally pretty scared of humans, so even if it were to be out here while I was tracking it, I'm sure it would just run away. Bobcats typically don't prey on deer, but it may be looking for a younger one or one that's maybe hurt. The previous owners also had chickens, so I would not be surprised if it was looking for an easy meal. Even though I would love to have fresh eggs, one of the reasons that we decided not to have chickens on the property was because we did not want to lure any kind of predators towards the horses or the cats. I would be much more concerned if I saw a mountain lion following deer around here, because although the bigger horses are probably safe, Nigel is the perfect size for snacking on. I followed the boundary of our property to see if I could spy any more prints, and then went back to show you guys exactly how big this little bobcat's prints are. If you've never seen a bobcat in real life, they are actually pretty small. They're typically between 15 and 30 pounds, so bigger than most of my house cats and smaller than Huckleberry. While I'm over here, I'll show you guys what I bought for the horses, just some more panels and shelters. Even though I can build permanent structures pretty much wherever I want now, it is nice to have something temporary. The orchard pasture and the area back in the woods here, I think, is going to be another area that predators frequent. This is right where the bear used to cross through. I'm pretty sure with winter now upon us, I will not see any more of him. There are a bunch of deer tracks back here, and it's pretty darn close to the boys' dry lot. Since I'm back here, I'm just gonna do a quick look around to see if I can find anything suspicious. It looks like for the most part, most of the deer have been staying at night in the big clump of tamarisk trees. I know they go in this area when the weather's nicer, but I think for when the winter weather comes, that big clump of trees is going to be where a lot of them like to bed down. I do want to check one more area next to the horses, just between their dry lot and the closest stream. I'm not seeing evidence of any predators close to the horses, so that does make me feel a lot better. Walking around today after we had a pretty significant snow does give me a better idea of where all of the animals stay on the property.
Whoa! Scary snow. You okay? Can we get a new halter on? A new one?
Thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next video.